Ambition. It's not a destination, nor a finish line. It's a never-ending race. To be better than last week, than yesterday, than a mere second ago. A race against your very being, your doubts, your fears, your limits, against the very nature of things, against even Mother Nature herself. Ambition. It's the big things, and the small things, and the everythings. It isn't somewhere you arrive. It's what you keep racing towards. To push, 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 to the extremes, to race, 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 where the unexpected happens, between the split seconds, that's when you find the limit. That's our ambition, so you too can race yours.
Hello everyone and welcome to the tracks. It is the Toyota Gazoo Racing GT Cup Philippines 2022. My name is Gino Killiamore and with me tonight is Toyota Gazoo Racing Philippines Ambassador Marlon Stockinger. What's up, man? Good evening.
Hey Gino, what's up? And good evening, guys. The 2021 GR-GT Cup was a lot of fun from what I heard, although I haven't tried it yet. So I'm really excited to be joining you guys for races this year.
I think there's a very good reason why you weren't able to try that, because I feel like you would have just smoked everyone there. But I really wanted to talk to you about this because I know that you've done e-racing as well, like you've done sim racing. Do you feel like it's kind of like it goes hand in hand that if you excel in sim racing, like you're automatically good at an actual racetrack as well, and vice versa? Like if you're good at a racetrack, like would you be automatically good at e-racing?
I think that's really a great point, Gino, because to a certain extent, I think that thought is true.
Yeah.
If let's say a sim racer is quite good, you can kind of imagine that he understands the physics of what a racing car is.
Okay.
The racing line, most importantly, which a lot of people, truly learn when they start in more traditional grassroots like go-karting.
Right.
But then the difference is obviously the reality factor.
Of course.
In the
you
real
get slammed
world,
to the side of your car while you're driving,
the
or something
physics,
like that, yeah.
being beat up, the physicality,
How
and
heavy the car is.
the fact that if you crash, you can't press restart.
That's true. I always kind of wanted to do that before I got into an accident. I was like, yo, can I just go back to my last save point? No,
Unfortunately,
it didn't work that way.
the buttons on the wheel in real life don't do that.
Yeah.
But to a certain degree, also, racing drivers, I think, when they come into a racing game, because they understand the racing lines, and even though sometimes the physics can be a bit different to the sim world, even though technology is getting better and better every year, they can be good as well. I mean, for a true sim racer, I think the racing driver can never beat them in a way. And in the sim sense, I mean, I've seen many motorsport academies championing esport drivers, and there's no reason with good experience and a good academy, a good program, a good championship like what Toyota is obviously doing, that they can have that chance too of trying to turn their virtual dreams into reality and becoming a real racing driver themselves.
There you go. So hopefully, we'll see some of these e-racers out there in the actual track sometime soon. But, it's a lot of fun to watch people to get in, just getting into the sim racing scene. I mean, lalo na ngayon na may mga kakalabas pala na bagong sim racing games, diba? So it's really super fun to see this small community grow. And now, speaking of fun, we are actually going to be witnessing some pretty neat stuff tonight as we catch the highlights of the junior class race heat and the full races for the promotional and sporting classes.
So tonight is truly going to be exciting, so make sure to share the fun, comment and share our stream, and don't forget to use the hashtag GRGTCupPH2022. Now, before we proceed, we would like to thank everyone who's watching the stream right now. Thank you all for tuning in, and those who made this year's GR-GT Cup possible.
Unleash your racing spirit with the next addition to the Gazoo racing line, designed to excite your heart with new styling that's bold and tough. Improved performance to awaken your off-road passions. Control and comfort, designed for rough terrains. Racing features to inspire you to push past your limits. And race your unbreakable spirit. The new Toyota Hilux GR-S.
Better cars that are ready for any challenge on the most exciting racetracks in the world. That is what the global brand of Toyota Gazoo Racing aims to push. And to cultivate this culture of racing, excellence, and winning, Toyota is once again hosting the GR-GT Cup Philippines. So once again, thank you so much, Toyota Motor Philippines, for letting us experience the heart-pumping racing action right in the comfort of our own homes with the GR-GT Cup.
But you know, Gino, for some people, and that I mean myself, nothing beats the thrill of driving on the road. So to get us even more excited, Toyota has something for you. Check it out.
At the heart of Toyota Gazoo Racing is the drive to push the limits for better. The passion to create exhilarating driving experiences for every car and every driver. With the latest addition to the GR lineup, we're putting the thrill of performance cars to the country's best-selling midsize SUV by bringing the racing experience right at your fingertips. Introducing the new Toyota Fortuner GR-S, engineered to drive you towards a new peak of success while looking bolder and sportier than ever before. Bear the mark of a powerful leader with the iconic GR emblem. Underneath the striking exterior is a strong engine with race-like suspension to make sure you dominate every race in life. Cruise confidently with advanced driving functions while sitting comfortably in an elegantly designed interior. With great performance comes even greater safety features. Easily keep an eye on all areas around your car. With a blind spot monitor, the rear cross traffic alert keeps watch while you safely back away from parking spaces. The downhill assist control manages your speed while descending. The Fortuner GR-S also comes with Toyota Safety Sense technology for added driving assistance and security. Ensure every trip is an exhilarating drive and your every move a winning one. Harness the power to lead the race with the new Toyota Fortuner GR-S.
Let's dive right into the action here at the Toyota Gazoo Racing GT Cup Philippines 2022. Now, for the benefit of our first-time viewers here in the GR-GT Cup, Marlon, can you tell them all about the mechanics of this tournament?
Sure, Gino. All right, each round begins with the leaderboard challenge, where participants are divided into several lobbies, and the top 4 racers, based on lap time from each lobby, will be selected to participate in the race heat or our final races. The race heat will determine who will be the round's top racers. After the race, points will be awarded according to the racer's finishing position. The first place finisher gets the most points, while the other racers get less points. Players will receive points after every round depending on their position. The player with the most points at the end of the 3 rounds will be our champion.
There you go. Now, for every round, we're going to be featuring a racetrack and, of course, a vehicle that our racers, well, all of our racers will be using. So for the first round, it's going to be the Suzuka Circuit East. Suzuka Circuit is one of the real-world circuits featured in Gran Turismo. Now, it is one of the oldest remaining tracks of the Formula One World Championship. Suzuka Circuit East is a shortened variant of the main Suzuka Circuit, which has 17 turns. This track only has 6 turns.
As for the car, syempre, it's the Toyota GR Supra for all our racers here in the first round. It's an 8-speed vehicle sports, a 3-liter twin-scroll turbocharged inline-6 engine, 335 horsepower that translates to 5,000 to 6,000 revolutions per minute. That's RPM for you. Rear-wheel drive car, ideal for maneuvering or drifting. No doubt about it, the Toyota GR Supra will give you an adrenaline rush like no other. To learn more, visit www.toyota.com.ph/GR-Supra. And just from what it seems like for me, I would love to actually join this. I've even driven the GR Supra, but the fact that everyone gets to compete.
I get where you're coming from, but I think it's for very good reason why you're sitting here and not, joining them there, because we gotta give chance to other people, right? I mean, sa Europe ka naman kumarere, bigay mo na to sa kanila, di ba?
But seriously, racing is for anyone who wants to try it, of course, Gino. So if you'd like to give it a shot, don't forget to register for the second round of the Toyota GR GT Cup 2022. You know you can still win kahit sakto lang performance mo sa first round or sa second pa lang sasali. Because remember, the point system we mentioned earlier, maglalagay kami ng multiplier for that in every round. So there's still a chance for you to catch up on a score, pero syempre, you'll need some luck too. So visit toyota.com.ph/GT Cup to learn more about the complete requirements and to register.
And para naman sa mga hindi nakasali sa mismong race, pwede pa rin naman tayong sumali sa conversation in the comment section. I know that sounds kind of sad, you know what I mean? Like parang hindi ka sumali sa race, sa conversation ka naman sumali. Pero okay lang yan, at least nag-enjoy ka pa rin. Use the hashtag GRGTCupPH 2022. Ngayon, wag na nating patagalin pa. We'll introduce you all to the different classes.
Okay, very quickly before we get into the races, let us tell you about the junior class. Open to all Filipino citizens age 17 and below, and no professional esports racing experience. So that means basically no professional tournaments that you would have participated in, and if you are basically very new to the scene, this is all the more reason why you should join this category.
Perfect category for, teenagers, young adults, basically anyone below 17 who wants to, try this out. So I think this could be really exciting. Sabi nga nila, start them young. So here are the racers who made it to the race heat of the junior class round 1.
So I think we've kept everyone waiting long enough, kaya without further ado, here are the highlights of the junior class race heat.
And here we go. What we're seeing right now is the highlights for the junior class race heat. So like we were talking about just earlier, these are basically, I would refer to them as kids because, they're still below 17. Some of them, of course, are teenagers already. But man, can you just tell me about the importance of for you as a racer, like how important is it to start off, as young as possible?
Well, I think, Gino, it's a good point. I think it's great to involve obviously the youth into motor racing, and obviously in the sim racing community. I think it just adds as another grassroots in the hierarchy of motorsports.
Right.
And of course, it's very much the beginning, but at least it's a step in a way that's humbling racing in general, knowing that it's quite expensive to race possibly a GR, and that was a pretty nice slide, honestly.
And I think as a parent,
Suzuka.
I probably wouldn't lend my Supra to my child, So
Exactly.
I think this makes it so much more accessible for people, just to be able to practice. But you were talking about like how they were, sliding on the track and everything. I mean, obviously, as a racer, you would know this much better than anyone here in this room, considering that there's just two of us here. Can you talk about like how they're doing in terms of following the racing lines and braking at the right points and stepping on the gas at the right points as well?
Well, I think at this point, obviously, most of them do know the racing line quite well. I'm assuming a lot of these kids would have had their own consoles at home as well to be able to play GT Sport in a way. But the good thing about a program like this is the fact that everyone basically, and we see a spin there by Samson.
Yeah.
Obviously, everyone is learning at this level.
Yeah.
And just pitting yourself against other competition just makes you a better driver naturally. You should always, if you want to be the fastest racing driver in the Philippines, or not only the Philippines but in the world, you always have to look for competition. And I think this is just a great way of scouting the next set of talent, the next generation that's
that you
coming
can kind
through.
of develop
And exactly, develop them, especially around a circuit like this. Although this is the short circuit in Suzuka, you still do have the tricky turn 1 and 2. It's a double right. And especially in the Supra, it can get tail happy. So you do see them drifting quite a bit. But, the car control from this junior class is quite nice to see.
I've actually driven in this track before. I mean, obviously on GT Sport. I don't think I had the same control as these guys do. So, I mean, there is a lot of talent, there is a lot of promise in these, youngin below 17 years old. Again, this is for the junior class race heat. How important is it to be ahead of the pack? Like, let's just say, currently for the people who are racing now, like, is there a lot of pressure? Like, if you're, is there more pressure as the guy who is leading everyone else, or is there a lot more pressure when you're, like, let's just say in the middle of the pack?
I'd say, I mean, it's pressure both ways, whether you're in front or behind. I just think it's a different kind of pressure.
Right.
If you're leading the race and obviously someone's quite close behind you, I mean, it's a matter of, you know, it's kind of like the feeling of an alligator trying to like bite your behind,
yeah.
you know, and it's
Because we all know how that feels. You know? Yeah.
If you could imagine that,
Right.
but it's kind of like the worst feeling. But I'd rather lead the race than, you know, come from behind, because that
Right.
just means I had the outright pace the entire weekend. Doesn't take away obviously from coming from behind and overtaking everyone. I think that's a lot of fun, but you know, it's quite close in the pack. I think the competition's been pretty good for this junior class race, and it's been pretty cool watching everyone battle it out, really. And that is it for the junior class race heat.
As we consider the first round of the junior class closed, here are the current standings. Once again, congratulations to our top racers for the junior class. Now, before we head on over back to the track, here's something that we're absolutely sure you're gonna love from Toyota. Check this out.
Unleash your racing spirit with the next addition to the Gazoo racing line. Designed to excite your heart with new styling that's bold and tough. Improved performance to awaken your off-road passions. Control and comfort, designed for rough terrains. Racing features to inspire you to push past your limits. And race your unbreakable spirit. The new Toyota Hilux GR-S.
Toyota Gazoo Racing has conquered every imaginable terrain and track, refining everything they've learned in the most extreme conditions to make their cars even better. Now, the ambition is to bring the exhilaration, the joy of driving, and sport performance safely into your hands. So whatever your ambitions are, you can race them. The new Hilux GR-S delivers everything you need to take on anything, from tough work sites to rough terrain. Now, it also features an exciting sporty design that perfectly exudes a powerful presence on and off the road.
You are still watching the Toyota Gazoo Racing GT Cup Philippines 2022. Next up, the promotional class race heat. Actually, you know, Gino, if I weren't hosting this year, pwede ako sumali sa promotional class.
Thank God you're hosting. Thank God you're hosting.
Yeah, so anyway, just kidding. Pero kayo naman pwede pang sumali sa sunod na round ng Toyota GT Cup 2022. Just visit toyota.com.ph/GT Cup to see the complete joining requirements and to register.
Now, again, we have different classes. You know, the junior class for the minors, the promotional class for the adults, both for non-professionals. So you can't actually join. And of course, there's the sporting class for the pros. Now, this you can actually be a part of. Meron at meron kang lulugaran talaga dito. So yan, wala ka ng excuse. Like, whatever your skill level is, whether or not you've gone pro or whether you haven't, whatever age group you are, all you have to do is join. So while you're mulling over how to prepare for the next round, keep your keyboards ready and get engaged as we get back to the race heat of the promotional class. Now, don't forget our hashtag. It's hashtag GRGTCupPH 2022. All right, so we're back to the races, particularly some promotional class highlights. Now, this class is for pretty much all Filipinos aged 18 and above, as long as you have no professional esports racing background. So this is where pretty much everyone, you know, gets together, whether you're like literally 19 years old all the way till like you're 85. if you feel like you have what it takes and you're not a professional esports racer, this is where you go to. So what do you think about this super exciting round, Marlon?
Syempre naman, Gino, it's that a lot of these players could actually be a mix of students, businessmen, IT guys, creatives, bankers even, just different kinds of professionals.
Hosts, maybe? I don't know. Yeah, you could, right?
Just
Technically,
could
yeah,
be
you
in the
could.
profession of just being good looking.
That's true.
Like
Yeah.
Gino, of
like
course.
a model, you know, that sort of thing. You know?
But you know, in all seriousness, we're all here together enjoying a sport that we're all passionate about. Kahit makakaiba yung mga backgrounds natin at ang gaganda, diba?
So literally anyone can join here to become the best e-racer that they want to be. So here are racers that we are expecting to thrive in this round after they made it through the semi-final heats. So let's not keep our viewers waiting any longer. Here is the promotional class race heat, which was held last April 30. And here we go, one of the best feelings in the world. You see them doing their parade lap. We're about to start shortly as they all make their way through the final corner.
And we have the safety car in and the lights are about to go green. I think we're going off racing and you can see everyone speeding off into turn 1 with pole position. Quite a big advantage at this point.
Indeed. Now Rada coming into turn 1 and here we go. Ooh, ends up in the dirt, on the sand actually outside. Possibly his braking point was too late.
And I mean, just like multiple cars having there's a bit of a touch there in the back actually coming through the second part of the first turn and quite intense. A lot of people being caught out at the start of the race.
There's a lot of ghosting going on. It's kind of like my dating life, you know? Like, it's just, there's a lot of contact. You see a lot of the cars getting ghosted there between Matthew Ang and Julius Quitlong on turn 4. There's an overtake that just happened there coming into turn 5. Man, what an action-packed race so far.
Yeah, and just, you know, a little bit of cutting by Quitlong there, especially into that right-hander, but I think it was pretty much a legal overtake. A bit of rubbing never hurts, obviously, in racing, adds to the spectacle.
Even outside of racing, you know what I mean?
In the promotional class, good to see the field really bunched up and everyone, you know, racing kind of fairly at this point.
Yeah, so we're actually welcoming lap 2 already. Aaron Asense in the lead. There's a nice little group of cars in the middle that are kind of like, you kind of just expect contact from them at any point right here. Now Stanley Gola is now clearing turn 2, chasing Julius Quitlong, doing well now as he clocks in the fastest lap of the race so far.
And it's just good onboard view here. We can see obviously the promotional class drivers pushing their limits, sliding the car quite nicely, gets the apex quite good there, and oof, just again in 4th place there, running a bit wide. But again, the field a bit scrappy at times. There is still a bit of corner cutting, but I mean, all is fair right now. And like, look at the
Pylons
cones
flying left and right, ladies and gentlemen. That's how crazy this race has gotten so far. Stanley Goles incurring a 1-second penalty there due to a corner cut coming into the final corner.
And it's just been like amazing watching these guys in the promotional class really battling it out, making the cars go sideways. And you know, the coolest thing to me is the fact that we have all these cool Philippine liveries on the vehicles. It's kind of nice to see that, like a nice touch actually here in GT Sport
you know,
too.
We always talk about, you know, the importance of representation, and now finally we get that. Matthew Ang, I hope you guys got to catch that on the chase for P1, taking a more aggressive line to keep up with Asense over there. But everybody's really pushing themselves to the limit. Look at this, like he's just like at the end of the track right there. It's such a beautiful sight to see. There you go. You see somebody spinning off into the distance. Will he make it back to the race? Probably he will. He will. That was Goles, if I'm not mistaken. As we welcome lap 4 with Aaron Asense still maintaining the lead.
No, and it's just really great battling here. I mean, you can see him trying to put the pressure on. He is, you know, like just a bit sideways there, but manages to carry the speed through. I think he's pretty much on the limit. He's locked in. He can see, he can taste the victory now, Gino.
Yeah, but then you can also see Matthew Ang really pressuring him, you know, getting as close to his behind as possible. I know that sounds wrong, but that's just what you do with racing, right?
No, and he just seems more confident at this point. You know, he's a bit more loose with the car, sliding, but then at the same time able to control the speed and is managing the gap. I think like once we get onto the back straight here as we go through the hairpin, will be an opportunity to obviously have an overtake at the end of the straight.
it's so tricky how you do so little and it affects the movement of the car so much. Like even for, I'm sure it is for actual racing, but even somebody ends up on the wall. That was Aranzanso understeering on the final corner and lands him on the wall. So now we're welcoming lap 5 with Aaron Asense still maintaining the lead with Matthew Ang just right behind him, still there. A little bit of contact there, but Ang ghosting there coming into turn 1. That would have actually been a massive collision on the top spot if the game hadn't ghosted the contact, right?
It's obviously not to real racing, that would be a very different situation, but I think, Matthew Ang, the whole race has just looked really fast the whole time. So, I mean, with all due respect, he's got the speed, he's got the lead. Can he hold on till the end of the race?
That is the real question. It's perfect that his car ghosted, because I guess he was, that's kind of what people do when they ghost you. They just, leave you behind real quickly.
Well, I mean, at a speedy rate at this point, Matthew Ang is building the lead. He is creating a gap to second place. And, he's just pulling away now. I mean, they basically don't have a chance to even draft him in, obviously, the GR Supra here. So, difficult situation for the rest of the field. So, let's see who comes up for the final podium positions.
Now, we can actually see Peter Amadeus attempting to keep up with Julius Quitlong after they come into the first turn of the Suzuka circuit. Let's see if this this aggression gets him somewhere.
No, and I've just been noticing a lot of the drivers very aggressive right now. Obviously, the nerves, they become different when you're in a racing situation.
Yeah.
You're against the competition. It gets more stressful. So it's really about who handles this pressure the best. And in this situation, Matthew Ang cutting the corner there, but looking good and looking fast as ever. This guy is just really confident at this point.
I think, he's in other words, gigil siya. Gigil siya manalo. I mean, we can kind of see that already, and we're welcoming final lap 7, of course, with Matthew Ang currently maintaining a huge lead. Let's see if he can keep it up, because I mean, so much can happen in just one lap of racing. I mean, you could be at the very head of the pack, and then just up against the wall the next.
Yeah, at this point, Matthew just has to be focused on his racing line, not make any mistakes. He has such a big lead, so even if he were to, he knows there's less pressure because the rest of the pack are so far behind. So it's all about cruising, taking the car home. Obviously, if you're in the groove, if you feel confident, that's going to be quite easy. For the rest of the pack, it's really about making any possible positions, any opportunistic overtakes, and trying to end the race, obviously, on a high.
Unless if you're Matthew Ang and you're an overthinker, and then you're thinking to yourself, like, oh my God, I could screw this up at any point. I think that is what separates, racing drivers, eSIM racers from normal people, because normal people are like, oh my God, like, I could make this tiny mistake, but it doesn't seem like that's gonna be the case because Matthew Ang is moving on over, and there it is. Matthew Ang wins the promotional class in P1, followed by Julius Quitlong at P2 and Aaron Asense on P3. Awesome job from all of the drivers that we've seen so far from the promotional class. Hey, congratulations to our top racers from the promotional class. I mean, imagine beating out so many talented racers to get top marks. I mean, well, I have to imagine it. I don't think you have to imagine it. That's just how it is.
No, and Gino, that is definitely an amazing feeling. Here are the final rankings for the first round of the promotional class.
Now, I'm super pumped dahil papunta na tayo sa super exciting part. You are, of course, still tuned in to Toyota Gazoo Racing GT Cup Philippines 2022. Finally, we have come to the sporting class race heat wherein we will see the best of the best sa mga sim racers dito sa Pilipinas. And although this is our last race for the night, well, this is still just the first round.
Yes, Gino, and we will be having our second round, so don't forget to like and follow Toyota Motorsports and Tier 1 Entertainment social media pages for news and updates on the Toyota GR-GT Cup. Now let's head straight into the action for the Sporting Class Race Heat Challenge. Last night for this round, so don't forget to comment on our stream and use the hashtag GRGT Cup PH 2022.
Huling patikim natin for tonight, the promotional class highlights aka karera ng best of the best.
Absolutely, Gino, and these guys are already making a name for themselves in the sim racing community. And just to give you a quick background on our sporting class for tonight, the requirements to join are seasoned sim racing drivers who have competed in any pro event anywhere in the country, associated with professional esports racing teams, or have taken part in the sporting class of the VRF series.
Right, so basically, to simplify things, if you were to join in any of our categories for tonight, this is where you would kind of land in, right? But thankfully, we're sparing you that. We're happy with where you are now. It's great that way. We give chance to others. But here is our list of participants for tonight's sporting class race heat. After they made it through the semi-finals heat. What do you think of these names? I mean, a lot of them are pretty familiar, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. It's a good mix of familiar names and of new ones. And again, sporting class to. The challenge and the extra push to be faster and better is there. So let's check out the sporting class race heat held last April 30th.
All right, and here we go on to the most exciting grid, the sporting class, doing their parade lap now with a safety car in there. Now in this grid, starting in P1 is Russell Reyes, P2 Inigo Anton, P3 Jeter Miole, P4 Francis Gonzalez, P5 Lance Gubalia, P6 Estefano Rivera, followed by Lance Padilla, Gab Senires, Corban Guerrero, and Mark Voltaire Elman. There you go.
And here we have the safety car coming into the pits and the beginning of the race, and we can clearly see, obviously, Russell Reyes covering his line, trying to block off Inigo Anton, knows that he can be hot on his heels into turn 1 and 2, but he's got a decent lead. He kept the distance and sliding quite nicely through there, the second part of the first turn. Impressive stuff so far by Russell Reyes. Clean lap so far.
Again, this is the sporting class, and that's why they are driving the way they are, because these guys know what they're doing. A little bit of a drift exhibition there by Francis Gonzalez. These guys, I'm sure they already know what they're doing. Actually, one of the people here has actually driven in this actual track in person. So, I'm pretty sure that is somewhat a big advantage on his behalf, I would say.
No, definitely. And now we can see Gab Senires. We now see drivers coming into the final corner, and Gubala just chasing down Padilla, approaching the exit of that corner into turn 1 now onto the straight. The midfield a bit bunched up. The front two, though, pulling away quite nicely, keeping it clean. I think they're on a good pace, and you can just see that these guys are very locked in. I mean, this is the sporting class. We do expect a higher level. These are experienced drivers, also having experience sometimes on the track, as we mentioned here in Suzuka. So the lines are just on point. A bit less sliding, obviously, to some of the other races we've seen.
Yeah.
And it's just really good clinical driving by all the drivers throughout the class.
But let's face it, what makes it really exciting is when people try to push past what they're kind of used to. You know what I mean? And, when they try to cut corners and everything. Just like this one. It's a risky corner for Russell Reyes there. He's really under pressure coming into the final corner, as it is usually understeer prone coming up to the final corner exit.
And now we're heading into lap 3. I mean, it's kind of settled a little bit. We can clearly see a pace difference where Russell Reyes is pulling away, but Inigo Anton really hot on his heels, and I think he might seem to be, in my opinion, the quickest driver on the track at the moment. He does have the advantage, and that was quite a nice overtake there in the double right. Bit of a squeeze on the exit, but we don't mind that. Rubbings Racing, of course, here. And the GR Supra is looking quite nice. I want to be in this race, honestly. This is fantastic.
I don't know if you got to see that, but there was a half-second penalty there for Estefano Rivera. Could be caused by the contact with Padilla or the off-track. I guess we'll just have to wait to find out. But everybody's getting a little bit more aggressive, a little bit of ghosting there from Estefano Rivera as well. Look at that. There was a corner cut there by Gonzalez, I believe, and that was Lance Padilla who attempted an overtake on the final corner of the apex as well.
Now we welcome in lap 4, and Gab Senires from the inside overtaking Francis Gonzalez on the stretch. I think that was a domino effect from his understeer off into the last corner, and again, great overtake, nice slide, and it's just great to see, the whole field just really, in fairness, racing quite fairly,
right,
in my opinion. and just, high quality level of racing all throughout so far.
Now for you, since we've talked about, how one of the racers here has actually raced on the track in real life, how well does that translate to e-racing in your opinion?
I think obviously any bit helps. I mean, the more you can imagine the racetrack, the flow, and really even whether it's the video game or on the track itself, if you can see the lap in your own mind, that's always a big help. And whether it's through gaming or being at the racetrack, I mean, it really makes a huge difference in my opinion.
That's right. As you can see, Gabsonier is clearing his penalty there despite the scramble on the final corner. We are, of course, on lap 5 already in case you missed it. And it looks like Inigo Anton renders the fastest lap in this grid.
Definitely. And just like what I saw in the beginning of the race, he was hot on the heels of Reyes. Inigo has been very quick all throughout the race so far, and especially being in the draft, I think there's a good chance that he can get through. He's been really nice with his lines, seems a bit cleaner, a bit calmer. Reyes seemed a bit pressured, so it will be really interesting to see what's going to happen by the time we come to the end of the race.
Now, we talk about racing lines all the time, and for people out there who aren't too familiar with it, is it something that you kind of feel as you drive through the track, or is it something that's kind of pretty much set in stone already? Like, this is the line that you have to follow to get the best time out of the track.
I mean, the racing line is always there, but sometimes not everyone can see it.
Right.
I mean, to be honest, GT Sport and a lot of console games, I mean, they help you visualize that. But in this case, obviously, in a category like this, we don't see it.
You can't have that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And when you go to the real racetrack, no one paints that for you.
Exactly, yeah.
So in the case of this, I think if you have a talent and you can see it, and clearly the lines don't look bad throughout anybody's driving so far.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where you really hone in the potential. And I think the top 2 right now, they just look pretty much on it. It's just great to see.
Like, there is a stark difference between the different classes, because you'll see how cleanly everybody's driving, how it seems like there's so much control of their cars and knowing exactly when to brake before they enter the corner. And now we welcome the final lap, lap 7. We are on board with Inigo Anton. If they're gonna pull any tricks out of their hats, this is the lap to do so, the absolute final lap that they can do anything. What do you think, Marlon? Is there anything that maybe, I don't know, Inigo can still pull off to kind of overtake Reyes right now?
Well, I think he's doing pretty much all that he can. He's basically filling up the mirrors of Reyes at this point. He's been pressuring him the whole race. I mean, it's coming down to the wire here, but despite all that pressure from Inigo, despite seemingly being the quicker driver, Russell Reyes honestly has put on a clinic. He's not made a mistake. He's cool under the pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly at this point, he just has to bring the car home, and it's looking like that defensive move there as we get into the final corner, and looking good for the win for Russell Reyes.
Here we go, Russell Reyes crossing the finish line. You can pretty much call this done as he crosses and finishes first on Suzuka. Inigo Anton super close behind him. Like, you could not fit another person in between both cars. It was that close for everybody on the final lap of the Suzuka circuit there. Beautiful, beautiful race from everyone. Grabe, di ba? I mean, obviously, all of our racers are very talented, pero iba rin talaga kasi pag nakita mo yung linis ng galaw ng mga pro players. I mean, they really take their sim racing skills to a whole new level. Kaya naman, a very well-deserved congratulations to our winner for this round.
Definitely. As a professional racer myself, I will be watching you guys as you progress through rounds 2 and 3. And for those coming in close after Russell, Inigo, and Lance, you still have 2 more rounds to go. So who knows? Baka mamaya sa totoong racetrack, we actually might go racing against one another. And, it might be in Clark International Speedway perhaps. And I'll see you guys there for sure.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I was intimidated. Like, I felt for a second that I was them. And when you said, like, I got my eyes on you, I'm like, oh crap. Oh crap. Competitive pa naman si Marlon. So napaka-exciting nga naman kasi makita ang galing ng mga GR-GT Cup 2022 racers natin.
And absolutely. Now, before we go, Toyota has one more thing to show you. So check this out.
Toyota Gazoo Racing Vios Cup is coming this July. So Toyota's premier one-make race championship will be happening live on the Clark International Speedway. So you've got the best racers and top celebrities going full throttle in the Autocross Challenge and the Circuit Championship. Plus, we're actually moving from the virtual tracks into the Speedway as we're bringing in our GT Cup racers into the Vios Cup through the Toyota Motor Philippines race training program. So that's definitely something that we should all look out for. New faces, new experiences, and a growing racing community. It is indeed going to be an exciting Vios Cup. So don't forget to check out TGRPH and TMP social media accounts for more details, and be sure to like and follow to get all of the updates.
And again, we'd like to thank all of those who participated in the junior, promotional, and sporting classes in the first round of the Toyota GR-GT Cup 2022. Gino and I are very well excited to see who's about to make a comeback sa second round. Or baka naman may bagong sumasali dyan, diba?
Baka nga.
Yeah.
Diba? Actually, totoo yan ha. So, sali na sa round 2 ng Toyota GR-GT Cup 2022. Super simple. Just visit toyota.com.ph/GTCup to see the complete joining requirements and of course to register. So we hope to see more racing and sim racing enthusiasts join us next time. So please do check it out.
And that wraps up our coverage for round 1 of the Toyota Gazoo Racing GT Cup Philippines 2022. Until then, you guys keep safe on the road. This has been your Toyota Gazoo Racing Ambassador, Marlon Stockinger.
And your GR-GT Cup official host, Gino Killiamore. Thank you guys and have a great night.